The butterfly effect. It's a scientific theory. It's a movie with Ashton Kutcher. And I want to talk about how it applies to All Stars. In light of my not having been part of season 40, where I should have been, and in my effort to help viewers, real lovers of the show of Survivor, fans, understand what goes on behind the scenes and some of the game itself. I'm making efforts to be as open and clear about the dynamics that really do affect the game that people might not be aware of. Never will I be able to go over all of the things that have happened, all of the inappropriate decisions, all of the guidance and shifting and inappropriate, unfair advantages that have played out. Never mind some of the inadvertent ones based on who the people behind the scenes are. But some of them are so clear and so impactful that lives have changed, that literally the course of history related to Survivor and of all of we players of the game is changed because of a choice or a moment. In Survivor All Stars, there was a challenge in which participants encountered one another on a beam. And the object was to pass one another. Or, if you couldn't get past one another, throw somebody off and move forward, whomever hit the water first was out. Now, I haven't spent a lot of time going back to season 1 and talking about all of the damage done by producers during that season as they were trying to figure out the game. But their involvement was inappropriate, it was impactful, it was frequent, and worse than kind of the inadvertent, personality-driven, ego-driven involvement were the intentional changes, were the intentional involvements designed to help the game be something those people behind the scenes wanted it to be or believed it needed to be, rather than let the game unfold honestly the way it should have. Part of that in season 1 was Probst. When I caught Kelly being fed, I went to Jeff Probst and I let him know that that's unacceptable. And his choices from there on impacted the game. And they weren't ethical. They were not appropriate. He didn't have the power he does now, so there could be some reasoning for how he delayed things. But he did not intervene the way he should have immediately. And rather than respect my having wanted the game to be pure and to have helped the game move forward in a way that people could be proud of, I was perceived as a troublesome whistleblower from the get-go. I just want you to know that that's a part of what happens in someone as unsophisticated as is Jeff Probst, in their mind and when their egos are involved. It's very difficult for them to step back and recognize what it was I was trying to do, what it was I was doing, what it was I was attempting to protect, and unfortunately, that has lingered. I can't speak for every moment that's in Jeff's head, because Probst and I have had conversations that have been productive. When he's made comments that were really inappropriate, blatantly wrong, particularly when I was in the midst of a trial, he made them publicly, and I called him about it. He reversed on air those comments and apologized for it, said he wouldn't make them anymore. Regardless, there's some kind of a disdain, whether it's unconscious homophobia in him or something else. He is not able to objectively step back and recognize that I wanted nothing more than to retain the purity of the game and to be allowed to compete in ways that were fair and were entertaining and engaging. I would follow any rules set down. If you didn't want there to be nudity, then you make a rule. You don't have all of us sign contracts saying that we'll be in the presence of people who are nude. You make a rule that there will be no nudity, and you make accommodation for that to happen so that there is no kind of discomfort that people are encountering. In All Stars, in this challenge, when we were supposed to cross one another, it came down to a challenge between Rob, Boston Rob, and me on a beam. And I knocked him off the beam. We both fell, and Boston Rob hit the water first. It's incontrovertible. It's on camera. It has been reviewed, and Jeff acknowledges now that Boston Rob hit the water first, before me, and should have been ejected from the game. But instead, Jeff made the decision to eject me. Was it an accident? Was it that unconscious homophobia? Was it an intentional act of his to try and remove me from the game because of his already connection with Boston Rob? Was it just about keeping Boston Rob in and no thought for me? It was inappropriate. It wasn't corrected. It was something that could have been corrected instantly. All cameras are present. They review footage all the time. And Probst didn't do that. Is there something in Probst that can't allow himself to love himself sufficiently to have made that right, to have brought me back, to have supported me, to have involved me in season 40, for example, when now Probst has executive producer power and is very, very much involved in the way the game is unfolding? Is it what keeps Probst from looking to somebody who plays the game as well as I do? Ego, I know. But I think that's just objectively true. I think I play Survivor well. And why is it that Probst wouldn't look to me for input as to how to help the game evolve? Why is it that Probst wouldn't involve me? I think part of it has to do with his shame in the way he mishandled season 1, and then even more blatantly season 8, by having called me out. He called me out, ejected me from a game when Rob should have been ejected. He has since apologized for that publicly, but it didn't change that I was then voted out that night. And his actions were responsible for that. Had he called that interaction appropriately, Rob would have been ejected from the game, could have been ejected by a tribal council that night, would not have gone through the game that Amber eventually won. Perhaps they then didn't get engaged, don't get married, don't have 4 kids. I'm tying this all back to the butterfly effect that I started it with. It has real consequences. These subtle, instantaneous choices that people selfishly engage in change worlds and lives in ways they can't be aware. For me, because of the effect of having made that choice, the effect of the way he felt about how things unfolded in season 1 when I stopped them for cheating. They all lead to misperceptions about who I am as a person, and it's unfortunate. It undermines what Survivor the game could be. It's undermined my involvement in the process. Part of that has to do with Les Moonves and his own failings as a person, as an ethical human being. You know, it's not just the fact that he mistreated women and that's why he was removed from CBS, but his reign over CBS and the culture he created is part of what enabled Mark Burnett and Jeff Probst to treat and mistreat people the way that they do, as pawns. They're not in the game of Survivor. They're in the business of creating a show. But I can argue, and I think successfully, that that show could be much better and would be much better were they not to involve themselves inappropriately the way they did and to mistreat people the way they do and the way they continue to. Sad. You know, 80% of you who are listening to these videos have not subscribed to my channel. Please subscribe. Just hit the subscription button and hit the notification button and you'll be informed when I have another video up for you to listen to. After you've subscribed, comment. Comment positively, comment negatively. No holds barred. Just say what you're thinking. That's what will make our exchange even more valuable. As I'm able, I'll create new videos responsive to that commentary. So like away, or dislike, on that rare occasion you may feel the need to do so. But either way, thank you.